The best message I get is when a client and fellow beekeeper calls me or texts me saying that they are enjoying their bees again, sending me a video of them moving around their bees without being chased the moment they come close to the colony. This truly keeps me going as a queen breeder. Although queen breeding is hard work and it has a lot of dedicated deadlines. For example, if I'm late to a hive with 24 hours, it can mean death for all of the queens that I have just bred, that I've spent almost a week working on. So deadlines are extremely important in beekeeping, especially in queen rearing, but I love the feeling of holding that newly emerged queen in my hand and seeing her features. You never know what she would look like. I have 4 kids, and the most exciting moment for me from childbirth was the moment they placed my baby in my arms and I got to see what they look like. Their features, hair color, fingers, toes, and just the way they look. It's like you meet this person for the first time. You were having this child inside of your womb for 9 months, and the moment they come out, you get to truly meet them for the first time. And just thinking about this is bringing tears to my eyes. It's taking me back to that moment, and it's making me feel so emotional right now. And I have that exact same feeling with my queens when they are born. It is a moment that I get to see her potential, her colors, and all of her features up close before I let her raise a colony of her own. And I guess that's why I'm addicted to queen rearing, why I find it the most amazing part of beekeeping. If this is the first time that you are seeing my video, welcome. My name is Marnie, and I am a beekeeper in the beautiful country of South Africa, home of the African honeybee. I started my beekeeping journey with just one bee colony that my dad bought for me, and today I'm boasting with over 50 hives made from this one single hive, catching a couple of swarms and perfecting the art of queen graft. In today's episode, I am going to break down the importance of your queen in your hive and why it is so important for you to understand your queen, know how she operates and how you can best support her. Now, yes, studies and practical experience among beekeepers suggest that requeening an African honeybee colonies with queens from a calmer, less defensive bee stock can help reduce their defensive behavior. So if you are dealing with an extremely aggressive hive and you are battling to inspect them, then maybe it is time to requeen. Queens that do tend to be older are more defensive, I would say, and the older the queens get, the less their pheromones get throughout the hive, which means there's mixed signals, and that can also create confusion and frustration amongst the bees. And unfortunately, you are their target when you open up the hive. So can you change the temperament of a hive by changing a queen? Absolutely, yes. I have done it many, many times. I have taken aggressive queens out, I've placed calmer ones inside, and the colony completely turned around. So you can indeed, use the influence of requeening to change the behavior. But let's look at the research. So here are some insights from the research that I've done. And I have done extensive research in this specific field. I have been doing queen rearing for over 2 years. So when it comes to making queens and mating queens and observing them up close and their behavior, I've been doing it for over 2.5 years. And I think I will still be doing it for until I die. So I'll be doing it until I die. So let's look at the first factor in my research. the genetic influence on behavior. So the queen bee's genetics strongly affect the colony's overall behavior, including their defensiveness. Requeening with queens from gentler, selective breeds can gradually reduce the aggressive tendencies in our African honeybees. Now, we don't want to be mixing and matching different queens from European queens and that, because we all know about the story that happened in Brazil where they took an African honeybee and I think it was a European bee, and they mixed it and we created the African killer bee, or known as killer bees. And a lot of people actually get that wrong. The African honeybee is not the killer bee. Yes, some of their genetics was used to create the killer bee, but they are not the killer bee. Our bees just have a more defensive nature than the rest. But studies have shown that as the new queen's offspring replaces the more defensive workers, the colony often becomes noticeably calmer and easier to manage. So genetics does play a role in less defensive hives. Now, let's look at the results from hybridization efforts. Now, we all know when the Africanized colonies are requeened with queens from calm straits, the colony benefits to shift genetically, so producing an offspring with a more balanced temperament. So it's about creating a hive that you enjoy working with. And sometimes you have to requeen them a couple of times before you get that excessive defensiveness out of them. But I have found that requeening my colonies does create less defensive hives. They are still defensive. They are still going to protect their resources. It's not like we can do the whole thing of just taking off our suits and working with the African honeybee. But I have found over time that my bees tend to become a lot more calmer. And I do also think that they get used to the fact of being inspected a lot, because I am in my hives every single week. If I can't inspect them every week, I will be inspecting them at least every 2 weeks. So my bees know when I'm coming to come and inspect them. Now, let's look at the field studies and some practical experiences that they've done before. So in my research, I was looking at some practical stuff that they've done before. Now, beekeepers and researchers working with Africanized bees have observed that after requeening these colonies, they often show a reduced in defensive behavior, with fewer guard bees responding to the perceived threats. So this was interesting for me when I did it. Now, again, I just want to reiterate, I said the Africanized bees. So do take into consideration that this is a lot more aggressive type of bee. It's not our specific bee. So yes, field study has shown that by requeening them, you can reduce that response to perceived threats. Now, in South Africa, we have our specific bees that we work with, and I do find some queens are just more inclined to managing the hive from a productive perspective, dealing with disease a lot better. So yeah, I think it's, from my personal field study experience, I have found that you can, over a period of time, reduce a colony's aggression, and you can get them to be a little less defensive. Now, let's look at the pheromone influence. Now, the queen's pheromones play a key role in regulating the colony's behavior. A new queen from a calmer strain releases a pheromone that can encourage a more subdued response from the worker bees. So you do get some African honeybee queens that are a lot less chilled. They're not as aggressive. They don't send a lot of bees out to come and protect the hive. So it's a lot easier to work with those types of hives. And research also suggests that with time, the presence of a new queen and her pheromones can create a behavior shift, making the colony a lot easier to handle. So, in some areas where there was Africanized bees, the research showed that some beekeeping associations have implemented the programs to manage requeening as a way to maintain a safer, less aggressive bee populations. And if they are able to take the Africanized bees, the killer bees, and they can reduce that aggression in them, then obviously we can also create a less defensive bee in the African honeybee. So, for example, studies conducted by the agricultural extensions in Brazil and the United States have documented success in tempering aggression through strategic requeening, which has helped make beekeeping safer in regions with high Africanized bee populations. So, while requeening is not an immediate fix, and the colony may still display a heightened defensiveness in the short term, consistent requeening with calmer queens can gradually lead to a more manageable colony over time. This approach is widely recommended in areas with Africanized bees, as it helps balance the benefits of the Africanized bees' resilience with the gentler behavior of the other bee strains. Right, so in my previous videos, I have mentioned that my queen mating system is not working, and I believe, okay, scrape this. So what is my take on the research that I've done? Well, I pretty much found that requeening is a great way for you to reduce the defensiveness of a hive. You are able to create a less defensive hive by requeening them with calmer, more relaxed queens. And I have seen this in my apiary many times. I have two specific lines of queen bees that I keep in my apiary specifically because they are so much better working with than the more aggressive types of colonies. I have had some crazy bees, like seriously aggressive bees, and I was able to reduce that anger inside of them by requeening them. And a question I get asked all of the time is, when should you requeen? You know, Marnie, do you requeen every 12 months, every 2 years? I would normally say you need to requeen the hive at least once a year. Worst case scenario, 18 months, a year and a half. Then you should ensure that there's a new queen ready to take up the hive to the next level, because that is exactly the way the bees does it as well. If you take the bees, they will go into winter. The queen will lay very little eggs, and then from there she would actually then ramp up in the beginning of spring, make a lot of bees, and normally halfway during spring, between spring and summer, the hive will be at full capacity. She would have filled it up, and then she swarms off. Then the bees, you know, if they are full and there's no more space and she's done her job, the bees will then supersede her, and they will then force her out to go and create a new colony, and they will keep the new queen that was made. So it's not a funny system that we are using. It's the exact same. We're doing the exact same thing as the bees would do it. It's just the reason why they're doing it is because they need a young, productive queen, because it has been proved that queen bees that are older are a lot more feistier, which means they're more defensive, and they are also less productive. So that you can't have that strong ramp up in spring that you need for the bees to collect as much nectar and pollen to create your honey. So does it affect your honey crop? I do believe it does, from my personal experience. So that is my take on the whole queen bee research section I did. And my take is requeen, guys. Stop being afraid to requeen your colonies. It is important that your colony has a strong, young, fertile queen at the front leading the hive. It is going to ensure you've got a good honey crop. It's going to ensure that your bees can fight off diseases, hive beetles, all of these pests that pester them. It is just a great way for you to maintain a great colony cohesion in the long run. So that's my take on it. I've just been busy trying to get my queen rearing set up a lot better and get it a lot smoother. And I do think that I'm on the right way. And I think it's important for you to, if you are in South Africa, to look at your current queens. How old are they? Are they still as productive as they used to be? If they're not, then then get a new queen. It's important as beekeepers for us to sometimes make the difficult decisions, and your queen does determine how the hive will operate. But guys, if you did find some value in the video, if you did enjoy the video, if you are part of my community, thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you subscribers. You guys mean the world to me. I think you guys would have seen, if you got any questions, pop them into the comment section. Guys, I even put my WhatsApp number there. You can connect with me directly if you got any questions. I love connecting with fellow beekeepers. I love connecting with bee enthusiasts or people that do love bees as much as I do. So please comment if you guys have any questions or anything that I'm using that you might want to get a hold of. Also check out our website. We've also, guys, another thing as well. Our free beekeeping course is still going to be free up until the end of October. The 1st of November, we will be charging for it because it is such a great program. The testimonials from it has been phenomenal. So many beekeepers have gotten a lot of value from it, and I do believe that you will have a lot of value from it. So grab it while it's free, because on the 1st of November, you will be paying a very small little fee. It's not a big fee. It's a small fee just for us to keep going. And yeah, guys, otherwise, please hit the subscribe button, become part of our community, see what we're up to. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. It really does help a channel like mine. And thank you so much for joining me in this next episode. It was really, really awesome sharing my beekeeping journey with you guys again, and just sharing this time with you. I always feel that I have this opportunity to almost like spend time with you directly, and it's whenever I do a YouTube video, I always feel like it's like you are in the room with me, and we're getting to be beekeepers together, and we're getting to share our experiences together. So guys, as always, thank you so much for being here. It was lovely having you in this video, and then I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, guys, may you have an awesome, beerific day.